Hi, this is Henley's Happy Trails. I'm Levi, and this is Keep the Tip. Our first episode of Keep the Tip, I'm going to be talking about your water tanks on your RV. Now, there's different setups for water tanks. Some of them come with two gray tanks, one for the sink and one for the shower. Some of them come with other types of tanks or other setups. But when all is said and done, you have three basic tanks in most RVs, depending upon, and it just changes how many you have. You have the white tank, the gray tank, and the black tank. If I was to name them, I would call them, respectively, the drinky tank, the washy tank, and the poopy tank. Because the freshwater tank, obviously, is the water you get to drink, take a shower, brush your teeth. The gray tank is all of the water used to wash things, such as your dishes or taking a shower. All of that water goes into the gray tank. And eventually, when what you ate you're done with, you deposit in the black tank or the poopy tank. So, all of them need to be cleaned to a certain capacity. The black tank obviously doesn't need to be sterilized. The gray tank should be cleaned every now and again because the water can start to smell after a little while, because you are putting sometimes bits of food and various things when you wash your dishes down there. Keep in mind it is saturated with soap a lot of the time, but it can still get to smelling. And then we have the freshwater tank. That's the most important one, in my opinion. That definitely needs to be sterile. So how do you get that tank sterile? There's several methods and devices and things. I recommend checking out your manual. I looked at my manual and it tells you exactly how it prefers you to sterilize your freshwater system. I'm going to go over that step by step because I pretty much sterilize my tank like the manual says, with the exception of one thing. My manual says that there is a device that you can plug into your hose that's like a tube that you pour bleach into, and when you turn the water on, it deposits the bleach into the freshwater tank. If you do not have one of those tubes, it does say that you can put the bleach directly into the hose that you're using. I use that method, that way I don't have to carry any extra tools with me that I don't necessarily need. So, for starters, let's start with the freshwater tank. In order to sterilize your freshwater tank, you'll first want to switch your RV from regular water usage to the fill setting. Then unscrew your hose from the spigot. After you've done this, drain the water out of it using gravity. Then pour a pre-measured amount of bleach into the hose. Screw it back in and turn the water back on. This will fill your freshwater tank and pour all of that bleach into the tank. Turn the water heater off, no sense using power to heat something I'm not going to use. Then turn the pump on and let the water run on hot for about a minute or two. At this point, you wait. I'm using 100 parts per million concentration, so I'm going to wait 2 hours before draining the water. After you have waited and you're ready to drain the tank, turn your water pump on and let the water run. Once the tank has been drained, there will still be some residual water. Once again, you'll want to fill up your freshwater tank with just regular water and drain it. This time, I run the water out of the hot water side. That will help me flush out my hot water heater tank. Once you've drained the tank once more, I usually give it one more fill. At this point, you may have rinsed your tank enough to get the residual bleach out. In order to find out if you have, after the tank is full, run the cold water until the water no longer smells like bleach. And then do the same with the hot water. It might take a little while with the hot water tank because, keep in mind, your tank could be 6 gallons or more that need to be flushed out of the hot water heater. If it still smells strongly of bleach, you'll want to repeat the same process, drain and refill. As a disclaimer, fresh water is an important thing for all of us, and especially it not making us sick. So, if sterilizing the tank using a commercial product is more comfortable for you, then use the commercial product to do so. Also, remember that not all RV parks get their water from the city, which typically is safe to drink. Some of them use well water, which could potentially be contaminated. They are obligated to test it every now and again, but you're never sure. In our RV, we always filter the water coming directly from the hose with an inline hose filter. Doesn't have to be an expensive one. We buy ours from Walmart. Or you can also use a filter on the sink that you're going to drink the water from, which we use also. We also purchase that from Walmart, and it connects directly to the outside faucet of the sink. So it's my advice to always make sure you're comfortable drinking that water. And if you aren't, even after sterilizing your tank, some people have simply showered and brushed their teeth with the water, and for drinking, they will buy water commercially, which is perfectly fine as well. It's important that you feel safe drinking the water from wherever you happen to get it. Next we have the poopy tank. Obviously the black tank doesn't need to be sterilized like the freshwater tank, but it does need to be cleaned because over time you may notice if you're sitting in one place for a long time, the sensor doesn't always show empty when you empty it. It means there might be some sort of particulate matter on the sensors. Now there's many ways to clean the tank periodically while you're sitting, and one of those things is using one of these wands. As you can see, I am wearing gloves at the moment. But the wand on one end hooks into a hose and has a valve, and on the other end the water travels through here and it's got a little spinny thing. As the water shoots out, that spins, and so you put this snake thing down the toilet and it spins and cleans the whole the tank. And this works rather well. It flushes a lot of water through the tank at one time. The method that I use is I'll empty the black tank, then I'll come in with this, with the black tank still open, and I'll rinse the whole black tank, and then I'll close the black tank and fill it up using this, and then empty it again, and then spray it out some more. After cleaning out your black tank the best you can, you still might have some things in there. So there are several products. Obviously, if you use products when you normally use your toilet, the process may be a little easier, but they do have products that work very well, and I've heard several from different RVers. Us personally, after we finish cleaning the tank, before we take off, we dump a bottle of Pine Sol down the toilet, and we fill it up just a little bit, and then we drive. And of course, that sloshing around in the water will help get all of the stuff off the walls. It'll clean that, and it kind of works as a nice degreaser. Other things I've heard other RVers using, Dawn dish soap. They'll put some Dawn dish soap down there and fill it up a little ways and then drive around. That will also cut through some of that stuff. My dad actually uses Simple Green. He'll put Simple Green down there and add some water and drive around, and it'll slosh around and clean the whole thing. So another method to clean the tank while you're driving around would be to get a bag of ice. Pour the ice down the toilet and then drive around. As that ice sloshes around in there, it being hard will kind of scour the inside of the tank. I don't know how well it works, but a lot of people swear by that particular method. So whichever one you're more comfortable with on cleaning your black tank. If you've reached this part in the video, thank you very much for watching it all the way through. I mentioned water an awful lot, especially clean water and drinking water. It's important to note that not everybody around the world has access to clean drinking water. Some places in the world, they actually have to walk miles to get to a water source, and even that water is contaminated. It's the only water they have to drink. So, for me personally, I think it's important to mention there are ways that you can help people who don't have clean drinking water. With a simple donation, there's an eye that just showed up at the top of this video. That eye will take you to a water charity that you can donate to help bring clean drinking water to those people that don't have it in the world. So out of all of the products that we mentioned in this video and things that you can purchase for yourself, we thank you if you use any of those affiliate links that we put on. But if anything, you can give the gift of water to another person. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. Happy trails.